Uh, Good morning to all. It's my immense pleasure to welcome you all for this day one session two. It's my proud moment to welcome Dr. Koteswara Rao Anne. Sir is the Director Academics at the Kalasalingam Academy of Research and Education and Professor in Department of Computer Science and Engineering. Before in this position, he worked as a Director Academic at Welltech Chennai and the Dean Academic at VR Siddhartha Engineering College, Vijayawada. Sir worked as Research Assistant Associate at University of Hanover, Germany, University of Klagenfurt, Austria. He played significant role in National Board of Accreditation in becoming member of a Washington Accord signatory by developing accreditation criteria, representing at International Engineering Alliance meeting, disseminating the outcomes-based education and accreditation to institutions across India. He served the NBA as member of the Academic Advisory Committee. Also, he actively involved in CDIO community and problem-based learning communities. His research interest includes information technology and software. He is serving as an editorial member and reviewer of several international reputed journals. Dr. Anne Koteswara Rao is the member of many international affiliations. He has authored of many research articles, books related to computer science and engineering. Last but not least, Sir is a good human being and a very simple and kind nature in general. With these few words, it's my pleasure to introduce our session 2 chief guest, Dr. Koteswara Rao Anne. So take over the session, sir. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much for your nice introduction. I am not that great. Anyway, today we are meeting here to discuss on OBE and NAAC's perspective on it. To have it, I'll share a small PPT. Normally, I don't like to lecture with the PPTs, but as it is an online mode, I would like to share a small PPT so that we can have some understanding of it. Then we can discuss. I expect more questions from you so that it will be more meaningful. I hope you are able to see my screen.
Yes, sir. Your screen is visible to all. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Thank you very much. So as the audience may be from different institutions, different types of institutions, so I just kept one small screen here. Forgive me if it is wrong in one or two numbers, because NAAC is continuously changing, updating its parameters or metrics. So if it is, and anyway, for my discussion, these number of metrics and the metric alone may not play a big role, but to have one common understanding to start something, we will have this screen with us. So what is the role of outcomes-based education for accreditation? Yes, program accreditation, we are all well aware. For program accreditation, whether the program outcome is met or not is very important. So we accredit the programs based on outcome-based education. That is quite normal, like NBA kind of organizations, they accredit the programs. So program accreditation and OBE are quite strongly linked to each other. Now, when it comes to institutional accreditation, what is the role of this outcome-based education? Institutional accreditation is not about one program, it is about all the programs in the institute. Some institutions, maybe for example, most of the institutions, those are representing here, maybe engineering. So it is a quality across the engineering programs, and it may be a quality across the practices of the institute. So these are the main distinguishing factors. Here, NAAC especially doesn't see only the outcome-based outcome in the measuring the attainment of the outcomes, but it also sees, do you have the processes, outcome-based education processes in your institution. NAAC doesn't see only the outcome in terms of numbers alone, it also values the process. To see some examples of it, for example, you take any of these three. Feedback system is okay, that is quite fine. But if you see the other three parameters, say the curriculum design and development, or if you are an affiliated institution, non-autonomous institution, curricular planning and implementation, or academic flexibility, or curriculum enrichment, these three areas primarily look at the outcome, not in terms of attainment of the outcome, but what processes, procedures you have to reach the attainment of the said outcome. So here is the key we need to see. How outcomes are defined? Outcomes are defined by program outcomes or program-specific program outcomes by NBA. For engineering, we will take NBA. I think majority of you are from engineering institutions. Am I right? Okay, I assume like that, and we go ahead.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely.
So when you say these engineering etiquette programs, NBA defines these outcomes, program outcomes, and the institutions or the programs define their program-specific program outcome. What NBA measures whether these outcomes are attained or not. Now, what NAAC looks at is whether you have designed your processes to meet the set program outcomes. Now, what are the processes to meet? First is the curriculum. Curriculum is the one which will help us to meet the outcome. Now, in this curriculum, you have two different types. One, it is designed by you. Other, it is designed by university. If it is designed by you, what have you done? What type of outcomes-based thinking you kept into your curriculum to reach, for example, teamwork? What type of activities or courses you have to have the teamwork? Have you designed your curriculum in line with that? That is the first. Whether your curriculum design process, normally when we see the design process, not any place, we will have some kind of diagram, what you call the flow graphs. Maybe some flow graphs, it appears like this. It is not about the flow graph of how you design. Like, you have internal board of studies, then you have board of studies, then you have some academic council, then it approves the curriculum. This is not that great, or this is not that important. That is anyway a natural process which every institution must do it. In addition to that natural process which every institution should do it, like autonomous institution for that matter, what factors you kept to make sure your curriculum is coming into that shape to meet the outcomes? First, in terms of design. In the design, if you speak, what aspects you have considered? Have you considered these outcomes? Outcomes is you have knowledge, skill, and attitude. If you define the outcome will have three different things to do. One is knowledge, one is skill, one is attitude. If you put in the reverse, attitude, skill, knowledge, people call it as ask. Ask. Every curricula should address this attitude, skill, and knowledge. What type of things you kept in your curriculum to address attitude? Just one example, I'm sure all of your autonomous, if you are an autonomous college or even affiliated, it doesn't matter. You have attitude related courses or the design with you. Even Anna University curricula has a lot of things that improves the attitude of the student. Can anyone throw some light on that? What type of things really impart attitude? I'm sure it is there in Anna University curriculums. It is there in every autonomous college curricula. We have something called complementary skills. Some institutions call that as non-CGPA, or some institutions may call that as audit activities. So we tell you need to go for the sports, minimum this games you need to play, or this many hours you need to put. We will tell them minimum you need to do this activity in extracurricular. Minimum you need to do like this. This is part of the design. Have you considered that as part of your design to meet the outcomes? Here, what outcome we are talking about the attitude. So I don't want to go into the knowledge because that is anyway taken care. Knowledge related things are taken care by all the curriculars. That is obvious because that is where we are all very good at. We as the professors, we always put a lot of emphasis on that. We do that. So whether you have your curricula, whether have you designed your curriculum for these things is the one that you need to look at it. Then, what do you mean by development? Okay, you designed it. What do you mean by development? Say this development is nothing but planning and implementing. This development is nothing but planning and implementing. If you develop good, okay, means whether you implemented good or not. So how you are planning, okay, you have a lot of things to do this, how you are planning and how you are implementing it. Again, the goal is to reach the outcomes. So that is what, okay, what it is asking is, what is the process that you have with you to make sure what curricula you designed is implemented? What plans you have to implement it? In both of these things, we don't measure the outcome. We are not measuring whether outcome is attained or not. Here we are looking at the processes, whether we have such a process to measure to reach the outcome. Why? Because it's an institutional accreditation. Institutional accreditation means you don't really go and check every program whether this program outcome is attained by this program or not. It's not possible. It is simply not possible to check each program whether it is attained or not. Obviously, it will be attained if you have a good design of the curriculum, or if you have a good plan and good implementation strategies. So the accreditor would like to see whether you have these things, whether you have a good plan, whether you have a good implementation strategies to reach the outcomes. So in this line, whether your program is prepared, that what plans you have at institutional level. These are like we don't specify, we don't worry about one program. If it is done by all. Here, for example, in the NBA, we talk about more of a department advisory committee or program advisory committee, course coordinator, that story. So how that is linked in the implementation, that you should be able to make it. How that is linked in the implementation. What course coordinator you have or module coordinator you have, what academic planning you have, so that they will do it. Now, let us come to that point. When we are talking about the implementation, okay, you may say, yes, we have course coordinator, we have module coordinator, we have DAB, PAB, is that story. Then you may have one kind of flow graph again. These flow graphs are the one big distraction for everyone. Then they do it. But more than that, what is required is, while implementing it, how you are targeting the outcome. For example, in your course coordinator meeting, or forget about meeting, actually what is the role of course coordinator? You should be able to describe that roles very clearly. What is the role of course coordinator? What that course coordinator will do? How these course coordinators will make sure that the outcomes are attained, especially when it comes to this 1.1a. This is the emphasis is more on planning and implementation. If you are in 1.1, you may say we have the system, we will do like this, we will do like that. But 1.1 curriculum is given to you by somebody. what strategies you have to implement these curriculums is the one that we need to really focus upon. So that implementation, we must be very minutely looking at towards the quality. Otherwise, normally what we think, okay, sir, why we are just linking everything, whatever we are doing, to outcome attainment. Maybe some people may be thinking like that. Whether we are linking to the outcome attainment or whether we are planning, whether we are planning purposefully to reach the outcome, it is two different things. Few things we are doing already, we don't know that we are doing it for outcome, but we feel, yes, it is required to be done, so we are doing it. Yes, you are right. You are right. Maybe it is not explicitly we had an agenda and we made a things only for outcome attainment, but we are all conscious of quality. We want to give a good education to our student. Most of our students should pass. You should have a higher pass percentage. For that, we have our strategies. Higher pass percentage, that doesn't mean that higher pass percentage means what? Higher number of students attaining the outcome. Whatever you have set, syllabus is set, questions are set to test whether the student has the knowledge on the topics that we delivered or not. It's a different word and terminology, but at the end, these are all aimed at to measure whether the students have done or not. Outcome is attained. If not attained, we change our strategy. We change our plan. Okay, so that is with respect to the curricula. Now, this curriculum, how this curricula can be improved, how this curricula gives the chances to, we will go and see the teaching learning others when I'm doing for the criteria 2. When criteria 2, when I'm discussing, I will come towards that. But here, what flexibilities you have. For example, as soon as we see the flexibility, we will only remember choice-based grade system. As soon as we see the flexibility, we see the choice-based grade system. As soon as we see the flexibility, we see we are offering the electives. Yes, it is one that is asked, whether you offer choice-based grade system or not, whether you are offering elective system or not, or whether you are offering elective system or choice-based grade system. This is one. But beyond that, actually what flexibility really means is how often you are giving the chances to the students to really master what is being done recently. What are the recent things? How you are giving the chances to the students to do it. Thankfully, I happened to see recently Anna University curricula. So it is done very thoughtfully. It also got a lot of flexibilities, academic flexibilities for the students, where the institutions can implement it. They have some value-added course basket. They have some skills basket. Now, even the government is increasingly tying up with different online platform vendors to give a different type of new courses linking with the industry skills. These are some flexibilities that the curricula offers. So don't think that flexibility means choice-based grade system. Very recently, even the UGC is coming up with a new framework, which is beyond choice-based grade system, overcoming the choice-based grade system. They are bringing a new framework, but mainly aimed at arts and science colleges, but for a 4-year degree programs. But the takeaway from that is, let us not think we are a small institution or we are affiliated college. We are not autonomous. Even if you are autonomous, flexibility means a lot of resources are required, a lot of new things to be done. No, it is not the case. A lot of flexibilities are incorporated within the curricula itself. Even Anna University curriculum has a lot of flexibilities. What are those flexibilities? How you are exploiting for your students? What strategies you have to exploit to your students? Those flexible. That's where the institute to institute they differ. even though curriculum is same for all the institutions of an university, because of those flexibilities that are incorporated in the curricula, you can really make a change. You can really make a change and use some flexibility towards that. And if you are an autonomous, with your flexibility, your board of studies is meeting twice a year, almost once in a semester. What they are doing by meeting, how much courses you are revising, what new courses you are adding. Are you revising the courses? Are you adding the courses for what purpose? This is one aspect. Definitely, stakeholder feedback is one aspect for this. But more than this stakeholder feedback, what else you have taken? Whether have you taken outcome attainment as a as an input to change the curriculum, to change a course. Curriculum doesn't mean that you need to change entire structure, all these things. If you're an autonomous institution, no, nothing. What every course can be changed. What course is changed? How many courses you are changing? So the benchmark is at least around 30 to 30%. If you are able to 30 to 35% of the courses, if you are able to revise annually over the institute, entire institute, that itself is a great aspect. So change is around 20% that they are as per their manuals. So I'm not going strictly as a we call fill you the SSR. I'm just trying to give you the education around it so that you can interpret and make it. So when you, that's where first is it comes for revision, new course, and elective CVCS other. So if you don't have this much, you focus also on other. Other has a lot of scope. Even in a curriculum prepared by Anna University, you have institutions can excel. Different institutions can take up different things and excel in that. So this is what is the academic flexibility that is expected. Here, to reach these outcomes, these academic flexibility is not one of a mill, but you need to put it clearly what processes and procedures you have, so that and how many students are benefited out of those academic flexibility, out of this academic flexibility. Mostly normally we claim that all the students, because it's an institutional accreditation, if there is a flexibility, I'm sure every student must use in their own way. So that we need to think of it. Finally comes to the issue. Oh, sorry, I did something. Sorry, something I did. So that's where the academic flexibility that we are talking is in. At one point I would like to stress here is, let us not see these metrics in isolation to each other metric. Somebody may say revision is in 1.1. No, yes, it is in 1.1, but the revision, new course, one is revision, new course, other. They all are related. If there is no revision, it shows you don't have that flexibility, that your BOS is not making enough efforts to see whether the outcomes are attained or not, and trying to modify the content. If you are not offering the new courses, new subjects, that shows that your BOS again is not very active and giving a lot of opportunities for the students. If you are not having some flexibilities for the students, either to the slow learners, fast learners, different aspects, excellence, fastness also comes in the criteria too. But here, what type of things you have, so that to make everybody. If you have CBCS is one, and how efficiently you are having the CBCS, what choices you have to the students, whether the students can choose the course, whether the students can choose the faculty, whether you are permitting the online courses to be credit equivalent. So you may say, no, sir, Anna University may not permit. It's okay. If not that, something else. It is not that everyone should have the same flexibility. For example, MOOC course, transfer to credits. Some institutions may have it, some may not be permitting. It's okay, leave that. If you are not permitting, you don't need to worry about it. But what else you have to show that you have some flexibility? Or whether you are your students, you are sending them to some other institution and study, whether you are with ABC, if you are an autonomous college, academic bank of credits. So likewise, you need to see what other possibilities you have linking with these outcomes. So all these things give, for example, you may say MOOC. What is the outcome with the MOOC? One simple is lifelong learning. Straight away, what comes to my mind is lifelong learning. So lifelong learning as an aim, you have the MOOCs. So if you have that possibility in your institution, you can assume that they are all contributing towards the lifelong learning, so they can study the subject on their own. I'll tell one more. For example, you don't have MOOC transfer, but you have some kind of mandatory courses. I'm sure, I think Anna University also have it as from the AICT model curriculum. You have like environmental studies, Indian constitution, traditional knowledge systems, whatever these type of courses you may have in your curricula, but you may not be teaching. The student needs to write only the examination. So that's some kind of abilities that you are imparting to the students on how to do, how to achieve the outcome called lifelong learning, teamwork, this type of things. So this is how you must think. Everything is how they are interrelated to each other. Then if you move to the curricular enrichment, here this is a huge scope. There is a huge scope for all the people on curricular enrichment. This is not what is in the curriculum. It is beyond the curriculum. It is beyond the curriculum. Here we have our value-added courses. So these some of, but how do we say that? How do we say that is very simple. One, beyond curriculum. First question that we will see is from autonomous colleges. When curriculum is in my hands, why I need to go beyond curriculum to enrich it? To enrich, why we need to go beyond curriculum? Yes, there is no need to go beyond curriculum when you are autonomous. However, you can have those possibilities for the students and encourage the students to participate in those possibilities, like value-added courses. They are not required. You may say value-added course is part of my curriculum. We mandate them to do, say, some 3 value-added VAC courses. Now we are getting from UGC, yoga can be a value-added course. Likewise, Indian constitution, they are giving, again, they are preparing one list. Monday they will display. I think Monday they are going to put it in the public domain. What value-added course basket they are creating, because we started with mandatory courses like professional ethics, environmental studies, and if we are keep on adding it each time, whenever we you need to remove the previous ones or not, we are not very sure. So again, that basket is growing like anything. Whether it is possible for the institution to do all these VAC courses or not is a big, debate. That's where the UGC also chipping in, trying to come up with a new basket of VAC courses. So how we are going to enrich your curriculum with that type of activities? Then enrichment is what beyond, when we say beyond curriculum, what is the other point is, you have curriculum, okay. How well this curriculum is integrated with, industry, how well this curriculum is giving the chances for the students to do projects outside the institute or inside the institute or in groups. Because again, the ask. So the skill, the S part in the ask is a lot of things are there to do with the students engaging with the community, students engaging with outside world to do the community, to do the curriculum related tasks. It is not engaging with the outside world through NSS. No, that's not here. That may be somewhere else. But here what we are looking at is, we are looking at something which is really focused to give the students the experiences with industry in the fields. It's not about one-day visit. I don't know whether manual mentioned or not, but in my view, it is not about one-day visit or 2 days industrial visits. But beyond that, what experiences we are giving? It may be with the industry, research or research labs, community. So they may be solving some community problem. Even to deliver the courses, we may be even to give the students some skills like, usage of modern tools. There is an outcome called usage of modern tools. To give that outcome, usage of modern tools, what we are doing, which industry we are showing, or which industry place tools we are keeping. These type of things can come into curriculum enrichment scheme and system. So always you think only from this perspective, ask. Then obviously you will get what things you are doing in your institute to make the students to reach, to attain the outcomes. What processes, procedures, and systems you have established in your institute to reach, to make the students attain the outcomes. So that's the whole area of these curricular related aspects. Now, the last thing I want to do is in the I'm not explaining criteria one to you for that matter. I'm just trying to say what is the perspective of NAAC from outcome-based education. So that is only my talk is oriented on. But now for the feedback, how do we measure the feedback? What type of questions we should have in the feedback to see whether the students are aiming at outcomes and achieving those outcomes. First, the student should aim at those outcomes. No? If the student is not aware of that outcome, if student is not trying for that outcome, he will not be able to do it. And we take this from different stakeholders. We are not limiting only to the students, but the questionnaire is focused more on the outcomes attainment. To attain those outcomes, whether the process and procedures that we have in our institution, are they good enough? Okay, are they good enough? Do I have that procedure, XYZ procedure to do this? Is my XYZ procedure is yielding, is sufficient, is good enough? That is the key here in my view. So here, the questionnaire in the feedback system is not about whether a teacher is speaking loudly in the class or not. It is not about whether the classroom ambience is quite good, whether the lighting in the classroom is good enough or not. But this questionnaire of the feedback, which we are going to take from different stakeholders, I'm sure you might have observed Previously, there is a parent, but they removed the parent also because parent is not fully aware of all the procedures and processes in the things. So these procedure and processes, whether they are yielding the things or not. Say, for example, curriculum enrichment. How do we say I have a process? The process is we are offering value-added courses during the first week of academic semester. Okay, first week of academic semester. We don't have classwork. So, for example, I'm telling you, it's not that we are doing that. But for example, in some institutions, I know that they don't have a classwork during the first week of a semester. They have only value-added courses during the first week of semester. Is it good or bad? Which time is more appropriate? That's the process we have. We have a process to enrich the curriculum through keeping value-added courses. So in our institute, we have value-added course. Like first week, we don't have classwork. We have value-added course. Like we teach the students on, some kind of what you call Arduino board or whatever it is. Some techniques, some technology, new technologies we are doing. Or we have one value-added course on yoga, for example. First 1 week, we'll teach them yoga so that they practice the rest of the semester. Whether it is good enough or not. Whether these value-added courses, what the institute is offering, are they improving the transferable skills? If I'm asking the industry, I can ask, are these these type of courses are giving the transferable skills to the students or not? They can comment on that. So likewise, you need to think, whatever we are putting the processes and procedures to attain these outcomes, are they good enough? Are they yielding the result or not? This is what we need to focus in the questionnaire for these feedback systems. And these questionnaires, in my personal opinion, should not be so many questions. When you have so many questions, if you really want to take the feedback, people don't give the feedback fairly and they don't understand, people don't spend time. For example, if somebody asks us to fill a feedback and it is going page after page after page, what we will do, we will fill 1 or 2 pages, then we will skip. Or next time when we get such a questionnaire from the same organization, we don't even attempt because we know already this will have so many questions, which I don't fill any case. So that's how we completely ignore the feedback system. So this feedback, whether your questions, what is the quality of the feedback question is more important. What is the sample size and what remedies you have taken. In the feedback system, for example, students are told in 2019, majority of students are, for example, not happy with first week PAC, first week value added course. And they tell, no, first week we are coming late to the institute. By the time the course is over, I'm looking for the fee to pay. But by the time I come to the campus, that course is over. And he's not getting the transferable skill, whatever you are aiming at. So in 2020, have you changed it or not? That should be reflected here. That should be reflected here. That is how we are using. That is how we are using our own systems to improve our own processes. We are not looking at the outcome attainment and changing. That happens also. We look at outcome attainment and change. That happens also, but more happens based on the feedback. The process and procedures change more based on the feedback from different stakeholders. That is what is we need to record it as an action taken report. What action we have taken based on what feedback we collected. So that makes the things, yes, yeah, this we are looking from the outcomes perspective, they are quite good enough. So this is one broad area which I tried to give some kind of thoughts on outcome based education, how relevant it is for the NAAC. It is not relevant in terms of attainment of the outcome. It is quite relevant in terms of processes and procedures and systems that you have to reach to attain the outcomes. I hope I made it clear. Before I go into the other two aspects, that is outcome-based education will give you mainly three. One is curricular, another one teaching, another one is assessment and evaluation. So before I go to the next two, I would like to ask from you whether you have any questions. Any questions? No questions. I hope all of you are with me.
Participants, kindly unmute and you can open out your questions. Otherwise, through chat box, you can express your questions.
Just to speak one or two people, then at least I think all of you are with me. Otherwise, I need to assume like how we taught our online courses during COVID. Student will simply keep it and keep
Hello,
it somewhere to their work. Yes.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, I am
Hello.
Balakrishnan, sir. Sir, here curriculum enrichment for non-affiliated, that is affiliated colleges, no, sir? It
Yes.
is Anna University syllabus we are following. Then content beyond syllabus, how much weightage we will give it out, sir? That one, curriculum enrichment.
Yes. Actually, here, as far as NAAC is concerned, curriculum enrichment doesn't come only with the gaps in the curriculum. Gap in the curriculum is only one aspect. So the syllabus that we need to keep, that is one aspect of it. That is one process.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Gap
sir.
identification is one process. Okay, this is what I identified. This is what this many courses we have done is one. But another big aspect is what other things that you have, like VAC, like student field visits, like industry people coming and delivering, or students doing a field project, community project, engage with the society. You know, they also play a role. Even 10 to 15% of gap identification is quite good enough, because ultimately, if you identify the gap, you need to deliver.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, then I proceed with the next. After that, we will have again. Yes. This is the area where you have a lot of things to do with the outcomes. This is a very key area, irrespective of, if you see this, it is same for all. It is same for all. Why it is same for all? Whether you are an autonomous institution or affiliated college or constituent college, whatever you are, the teaching learning process is very vital. Teaching learning process is very vital if you really want to attain the outcomes. Normally, people start with, I saw some people put that academic calendars, institute-wise, and then you have department academic calendar, something like that. More in addition to that, of course, that is important. Academic calendar tells you whether your teaching learning processes are structured or not. For an institutional accreditation, it is very, very important. But more than that, what is also required is what teaching methods you have. What are the evidences? Why particular teaching method is chosen for a particular course? For example, I have seen one place. I'll tell you some course on programming. They are using think, pair, share. Some method called think, pair, and share. Now, what is the relevance for these two? So, whether that method is required for this course and this to teach. whether you have a good methods, but this is a place where you need to really see what is the outcomes expected in that type of courses, what methods you have. Now, we may say we are going with the institutional accreditation. Here we may not have the samples from courses. Yes. Now you need to tell what methods you have, aiming at what type of courses. You don't need to name the course. You need to identify that we all know some types of courses. Some courses give you problem solving skills. Some courses use modern tools. Some courses you are to impart like attitudes like teamwork. Some courses are, with the nature of the course, these methods do vary. So what type of things we have, how we can change those methods, and how we are taking the feedback from the stakeholders to impart our teaching learning processes. What policy you have on improving these teaching learning pedagogies based on the type of courses, what reviews we have, so that our processes and procedures are more towards attaining these outcomes. That is the very simple thing. But now when you really want to implement, now let us also talk something very frankly, whether how do we implement all these this processes in our institutions, and what are some benchmarkable practices. I'm sure this is our 80% job. 80% job of any institution is the teaching learning process, especially, of course, for all of us, and it is much more to the affiliated UG system, non-autonomous affiliated UG system. It is much more, this is the main job. Adhering to the academic calendar is, yes, definitely it gives. Academic calendar itself is changes many times based on the situation, because we are in a VUCA world. We are not in a stable world. We are in a VUCA world. So in the VUCA world, we keep changing our own strategies. And so academic calendar keeping aside, then what else we have? What methods we have? So for example, do you have any training plan on pedagogy methods, on learning processes to the students? Do we give, say, we are imparting the knowledge, we are giving a lot of tools. Do we have some kind of lecture management system, LMS, where our teaching learning process is completely automated? This is an institutional initiative. Having said, there are so many things like Moodle. It's very free. It is a free one. It is free. It's some kind of learning management system where you have your teaching learning process can be automated, can be tracked, and can be assessed. So do you have such a system? Because if you have such a LMS platform, it will help you to derive your policy. Sorry, this is the reverse direction. Your policy should have LMS. That should help you to fine-tune usage of, fine-tune how the content is shared to the student, what content you are preparing, what methods you have, what type of assignments we are giving, what type of students, how they are writing the things. All this can be documented. Do we have such a system? Do we have, that shows if the institution adopts such a practice, like academic calendar. This is like academic calendar. Our institute has some kind of open source element. This is only example. There are so many. It is very popular, so I just kept. So do we have LMS? Through LMS, we try to monitor the teaching learning. Some institutions have some kind of ERPs to monitor their teaching learning. But those ERPs are constrained. They only track what faculty delivered the topic, or whether the topic is delivered in tune with the lesson plan or not. But here, more than that, automatic, that's also good. There is no doubt about it. But more than that, what is required here is you need to have some system, some process or procedure, which is continuously tracking the teaching learning process. So that is the only solution is LMS. For that, You need to have a policy. The policy should say which elements, what type of things you will need, what type of analytics you are using. Because I feel more than these points here, this is a really, from the NAAC perspective, is a very good point to have this teaching learning process to be verified in a systematic way, or to be strengthened in a systematic way, so that we have all the things in place. Then what type of ICT tools you use to strengthen your teaching learning process? We all say some kind of LCD. Some special people may say smart classroom. Yes, there are also some kind of ICT tools to do it, but beyond that, what tools you have? There are definitely some kind of ICT tools to use, but beyond that, what you have? Do we have some kind of ICT tools where the student can be tested automatically? There are so many platforms nowadays. There, even in the colleges, many platforms are there to test the students' abilities. Actually, they are even testing ask. They're testing and they're segregating the things. I'm sure you may be using something like MCAT or CoCube, so placement reduction, maybe future skills or something. Maybe doing it. So how you are taking that? That's one process. That is the one teaching learning process to measure whether students are attaining the things or not. And based on that, we keep changing our method of delivery. We enrich the process. We try to improve the things that are required for that. Do you have such type of processes towards that? That ICT is one big area where you have. So all these things will help in improving teaching learning process. Together with your own like course coordinator, your DAB, or your program coordinator, or something, whatever your institutional systems, you have to, some institutions have quality evangelists. It's a good word. Some people have quality evangelists. A team of quality evangelists will go to different things and they keep doing it. Some institutions have academic audits linked with the only teaching learning related. I'm speaking teaching learning related. So that is where we need to really see whether these things are happening towards the benefit of the students. Yeah, let me erase this. It is. Another point that I want to here is course plan implementation. We have our course plan implementation together with continuous improvement. So here we need to see what type of course plan implementations we have, how continuously we are improving. Another one is slow achiever, fast achiever. To cater to slow achiever, what we have, to cater to the fast achiever, what we have. The process, first policy. NAAC is all about policy, procedure, process. Sorry, policy, process, procedure. So some people call policy, they are calling it some SOP, they are calling. This is procedure. So it is not about the end, it is about the ongoing ongoing things. So what policy and process you have for slow achiever? How do you identify a slow achiever? I don't want to call them as slow learners. Nobody learns slow. They're achieving, sometimes some people take a little more time. Some people achieve very fast the target. If you don't achieve the target, that doesn't mean that we are slow fellows. We are doing multiple things at a time, so sometimes we may achieve slowly. So these boys, this set is not a bad set. It is a good set. They are doing multiple things, that's all. So he will achieve his target slowly. For such people, what processes you have? So in this triple P model, what we are having for these two areas, course plan, implementation, and continuous improvement. With respect to slow learner, what you have, with respect to fast learners, what you have. Because normally, what we are seeing is slow learner means evening 1 hour we keep some extra class, or morning 1 hour extra class, something like that. Fast learner means people are telling us like, they are putting some MOOC courses, some value added course in the evening, likewise, or some if a dream job, some training. This is okay. What process? That they are not bad. What I'm saying, they are not bad. That is okay. That is good. We all know that is important. That is required. Beyond that, what you are doing? By recording that, beyond that, what policy you have for the slow achiever? For example, say for example in the ASK, now K, some people are slowly achieving. They are not very fast in solving the mathematical problems. Complex problems they don't solve. What you have a method for them? Okay, sir, everybody need to write the same exam. Just leave it. Exam is okay. To prepare for that, to write that what you have. Okay, evening I have 1 hour class. That's normal. Next what we have. This is the place where we need to really think little deep. We can, for example, if somebody asks me what you have for slow achiever, yes, we have a teams, and that is what this. Sorry, this is slow achiever group. Then I have a peer tutor. Okay, in our institute, for example, we have a peer tutor system. These slow achievers are identified and they are grouped and they are mapped. Every 10 slow achievers are mapped to one peer tutor. This peer tutor is somebody who is really good in that subject and a shadow faculty. Faculty is a shadow to the peer tutor because sometimes this tutor, he may teach something wrong. So we need to be just like a shadow. So he is helping us and the faculty will be shadow to him, and this peer tutor will call this group of students and solve these mathematical problems, tutorial sheets, many tutorial sheets in different ways. So that is one process. You have one policy. You have a policy. You have a standard SOP to identify the peer tutor. You have a SOP to have a shadow faculty. Then you have a procedure to conduct the courses. And that courses are on, for example, LMS, like a Google Classroom or Moodle. So this is the process. This is what the teaching learning is all about. If we keep improving it, I think we'll be able to achieve the results. Same is with the ICT, same is with even fast learners, what you have. Yes. For my fast learners, I give many skill courses. They finish these skill courses, they do this, then we are engaging them with the industry and campus. This is the process that you have to engage them. That is one important aspect. Okay, next important aspect is evaluation process under reforms. These evaluation process and reforms, again, autonomous colleges, yes, completely it is in their control. So what is their policy for evaluation? What processes they have? What reforms they have? So reform is a big word. We don't need to worry too much about it, but it's very simple word also if you really want to do it. I'll tell you, I have seen 15 years, no, 12 years back, one college in Mumbai. It is named after Sardar Patel, SP Sardar Patel College of Engineering. 12 years back, they have a reform. They don't have revaluation. They show the end semester transcript to the student, like we do normal. Our internal test transcripts we give to the student. They will ask some change in the marks. We do it and we close. Likewise, 12 years back, they have that. Now many institutions have that. That is different, but 12 years back they have. That is one reform. What type of reforms you have for evaluation? What processes you have for evaluation? Who will evaluate which script? How this evaluation is transparent? How this evaluation makes sure gives a lot of opportunity to measure this one key area. Whether this process is transparent, modern. Modern means methods of assessment. Are the same methods you are using? Do you have a new types of assessments? Do you have something where you can new evaluation methods? That whether you have that, that you need to think. That we need to have. Then new methods is one. Then technology use. Whether you are using the right technology to evaluate these student scripts. Then one more is another. Okay, leave it, no problem. Then you come up to the reforms. These reforms need not be very, very big. For example, if you take a small affiliated college which is autonomous, what we do here? Even in the continuous assessment, you can have a lot of reforms. Even, for example, the question paper, what type of questions you have, how the question paper is answered, how it is evaluated, how the teacher is empowered in evaluating these things. So we don't need to assume all the time that our people are bad and somebody else needs to do the things. So in these areas, what type of steps you have taken to improve, to bring transparency and the change in the evaluation strategies. So it will not have big scope for affiliated, but definitely autonomous colleges have huge scope for that. That is where we have more marks on evaluation process and reforms, especially methods and technology. What methods you follow, what technology you follow. For example, digital evaluation is a reform long back. Digital evaluation is one type of that the student is writing on the tab, and digital evaluation is writing on the tab, and where again the faculty also evaluates on the tab. Or semi-digital is like students write on the paper, we digitize it, and evaluation goes on to the online computing system. So likewise, these are some reforms that we have. Again, for that you need to have PPP, policy, process and procedure. Okay, I'm not going into the remaining things. This is the main, maybe to us. Oh, no. So this is one area, 2.6, student performance and learning outcomes. So whether our learning outcomes are in tune with the accrediting agencies, how the students performed against those learning outcomes, how you are measuring. This is where your NBA related things may help you, that outcome attainment things. that is given little more weightage to the affiliating system, because performance is it's like a passing the students, how many students are passed and how they are attaining the outcome. Again, here it is not just for the number, if you have 95% pass percentage or not. No, again that PPP only. What processes you have, what procedures you have, how these things are helping the students to attain this performance, whatever is described. Okay. So, you have any questions on this? Do you have any questions?
Sir, we have one question, sir.
Yes.
When we are calculating the percentage of reserve category in criteria 2,
Yes.
so in the time, the percentage should be calculated on the basis of whether it is on sanction intake or otherwise on the
Actual.
after the reserve category only. While we are admitting the
Yes.
students on SC, ST, OBC category, so what is the percentage of students we are admitted on the reserved category?
Really?
Intake, otherwise the surrogacy.
No. Whatever we have, whatever we have on our campus. No, whatever we have on our campus. The performance and outcomes is for all the students that we have on our campus. It is for all the students. This learning outcome, how you are measuring whatever you are doing, what is the student performance, it is for, as a policy, our policies, procedures will not be for a particular set of students. Maybe in some.
I'm not asking the learning outcome, sir. So in the criteria 2.
You mean to say catering student diversity?
And the reserve category, admission. Yes, sir, student diversity.
Our enrollment profile. Yeah, this I am not talking. No, this also it is about how many people you have, all these things.
Student diversity, sir. While you are calculating the percentage of reserve category. Oh.
Yes, this is a different. Student diversity is based on the reservation policies of the state. How many women you have, how many of different people you have.
Okay,
this numbers game I am not entering. I am only with this OBE game only I am entering. But here, this performance and learning outcome is what policy procedure you have for all the students. It is not for a set of students.
Yeah, that we understood, sir. For all the students, we are calculating the percentage.
Yes.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
This is Dr. Segar, professor from Rajalakshmi Engineering College.
Yes, professor.
Out of interest, I am asking this question, Professor.
Yes.
Autonomous affiliated, we are telling most of us.
Yes.
But autonomous college is also affiliated to university.
Yes.
We have to specify autonomous or non-autonomous. I think this is correct. Am I right, Professor?
Yes, professor, you are right. You are right. Autonomous and non-autonomous is a appropriate classification.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you.
That is right question. Yes.
Thank you, Professor. Participants, if you want to open out any other questions, you come forward. Okay.
Sir, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Sir, we are the affiliated colleges, that is Anna University, Chennai.
Yes.
but in the teaching learning process, the total mark criteria to the teaching learning process, the total mark is university is only for 200, and then autonomous colleges 300 marks, but applied colleges UG level is 350. Why the deviations? Because we are the applied college, everything is we are collected from university, so we are the process is very high.
I'll tell you my perspective. I am not a authoritative on this aspect, but I'll tell my perspective here. What happens is, for a non-autonomous institution, this is the major job. Teaching, learning, and evaluation to some extent is the major. Evaluation, why it comes is, ultimately student is passing. That is where the performance, if you see performance and learning outcome, it is more marks to non-autonomous colleges. So my view is it is right, because these non-autonomous colleges are mainly aimed at teaching learning. They are not into high-intensive research, or they are not more into the curriculum design and development. They are more, you see here it is less. You are more into the teaching learning process and evaluation. Evaluation, even though it is partially done by the university, but at the end, that is only testing the institution practices and procedures. If we are all very fond of it. No, if an institution is producing a high pass percentage, what is the meaning? Yes, that institution is doing good. There is no doubt about it. We may agree, we may disagree, we may say this, that, but as a general person, if you see from outside, it's a good institution. If Anna University, somebody is getting 95% pass percentage, means, yes, it is a good institute. It has its processes and procedures and policies promoting the students to perform. That is a foregone conclusion by Professor or a layman on the village. So yes, the college is good. They are making the students to study. They are teaching well. My son is, daughter is learning good. And in the exams, that is evaluation, they are doing great. So that is where I feel it is just to have higher marks for teaching learning for non-autonomous institutions. I don't know that marks 350 or not, I'm not sure, because I told you in the beginning, these are all continuously changing. So whatever it is, the high marks should be given for teaching, learning, and evaluation for non-autonomous institutions. That's my observation.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. So if no other question, I have only one more I want to stress upon. I think we have time up to 1, no? Am I right, sir?
Yes, Professor. Up to 12:45, the session is planned.
Okay, just one more metric I want to put there. After that we can.
With pleasure, Professor.
Yes, actually, I just want to come for this. So here also you see you have more marks for non-autonomous institutions. That is where you need to really put. This where I want to bring to your attention, because many of you see here also the marks are high for non-autonomous institutions, because you need to make the students to participate in different activities. What policies and procedures you have? You have any procedure or policy to permit the students to attend more competitions, more activities inside the campus? What budgetary provisions you have to conduct this type of things? So again, this is a very important area for every every institute for that matter. This is very important. How students are participating and what policies you have to. Some institution, if you go, they will tell, no, we don't send the student outside morning to evening. He should be inside. We don't conduct any workshop. We don't allow the students to participate in other institutions' programs. So that is a policy. So this key performance indicator is very important. Student participation and the activities that the institutions are conducting. Because if you to reach the outcomes, this is very, very important. Without that, with our only classroom delivery, student will not be able to attain those asked outcomes. Those outcomes he will not be able to attain. So, in my view, we must encourage more and more students to. We should have our PPPs more aiming towards this. So this is what at the end I wanted to tell. Yes, that's all from my side. If you have any questions.
Participants, you can drop your questions in the chat box. Otherwise, directly unmute and get your clarifications.
Thank you, Professor, for your detailed information.
Thank you.
Professor, my question is general. So,
Yes.
and especially we are dealing with outcome-based education. So, one is
Yes.
about ABET and NBA. So, both are under the same Washington Accord member. So, by comparing these two, so what is the qualitative difference between these two, especially ABET and NBA? Qualitative difference. Sir, my voice is audible, sir?
Audible, sir.
Yes, thank you, Anish, sir. Voice. So, okay. Thank you, Professor. It's my trying to convey my sincere thanks to Dr. Koteswara Rao Anne. So we are in the category of Dean of Academics, Administrations, IQSC Director, Coordinators, NAAC Coordinators, and faculty members of higher education institutes are there. So whomever may be, but we are belongs to under only one umbrella, that is a teaching faculty. Especially in this session, there is a eye-opening about distribution of metrics as well as distribution of weightages of key indicators across three criteria Dr. Koteswara Rao Anne addressed. Especially, we are in the clusters of universities, autonomous, affiliated, and constituted colleges. So by the meantime, the curricular aspects, teaching, learning, evaluation, in teaching learning process, student support progression, these are all some of the important things we need to address. Especially here in the curricular aspects, Professor addressed about the curricular design and development, curricular plan and implementation, academic flexibility, curricular enrichment, and feedback system. And he extended and delivered about the evaluation process and reforms, student performance and learning outcomes. At last, yes, Professor addressed about student participation and activities. So in these happy occasions, so I'm very proud and register my sincere thanks on behalf of Ramco Institute of Technology Management, Principal, Vice Principal, and all the heads of the department. I register my sincere thanks to Dr. Koteswara Rao Anne. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Professor. By the meantime, I request the participants to register your feedback. The feedback link will be dropped in the chat box, and we are expecting your arrival at 2 p.m. The session 3 will be handled by Dr. T. Pungadi Vijay Kumar, Professor and Head, Department of Food Science and Nutrition, Periyar University, Salem, Tamil Nadu. Madam going to address about the reimagination, assessment and accreditation in the higher education in India. So here at 2 p.m. you try to be here. Your punctuality is highly appreciable. Thank you for your patient listening. Thank you all. Thank you all participants. Feedback link will be active for another 15 more minutes. Kindly register your attendance. Thank you all.